wanted to show you what I'm doing. Okay, I've got the terminal boxes on the wall. I've got the positive to the main forklift battery bank going outside here. Okay, and then I've got one positive wire going up into the original charge controller, and the other positive wire inserts through here just like this, see? And then goes in and connects, and there you have a safe connection. Once I tighten that with a socket or a wrench, you've got a safe, secure connection. And then there's the lid that goes on there, and that screws on, and there's no way that's going to short out. It's going to look nice, neat, orderly, and be electrically isolated from one another. So now I've got to cut the main negative wire and feed that up inside the terminals box here. The problem, big issue I'm having, is with cutting this, or not cutting, with crimping on the wire. It's a nightmare crimping on the wire in here, because instead of feeding this out, trying to take it outdoors where I could beat against a rock with it, I have to do it in here, and it's not that easy. I guess I'll let you watch as I do the main negative wire. Strip some wire off of it, or some insulation off the thing. I think I got it. Okay, then I have to bring you down to the ground here. I've got a pounding station on the floor. You can't see it there, can you? Okay, what I've got here on the floor is where I'm going to pound on the connector. I'm going over a seam in my house floor. Actually, I want to go right over a stud right here, if I can reach. If I can pull this back enough to reach, I want to go right over the stud to give me less bounce back. This is really tough work. I've got to break that. All my zip ties had to be undone. Such a shame. Okay. Put that there. Now, it takes a lot of force. Right here is a floor joist. Not stud, floor joist. So there's less bounce. Okay, you really want to get that on tight so there's no chance of that ever coming loose. That is a really important point right there. The main hot wire to a battery with like 30,000 or what is it, watt hours or something of power. I don't know what, but anyway, it's a lot of power comes through there. So anyway, now this one comes up into the negative main terminal here. That's where all my connections can be made, nice and safe and clean. And then there you have it. Now I just got to go get our sockets for them, and then I have to make my negative wire for each one of these. The one I just cut off I will keep, and then I'll go back up into here. Hopefully it'll fit. Maybe it won't. No, I'll make it go to this one. It'll fit this one. Okay. So I'll take another and we'll reverse trace here from here. I want to go up and into the charge controller. leave myself some room for flexing. Cut that little bit of extra off. Hope I did it right. And then this one has a crimp-on connector. This is one I'm reusing from a previous project, so that saves me some trouble. I recycle everything at the homestead. These are leftover wire pieces from when I was doing the RV and from when I wired the tiny house on wheels. Recycle everything at the homestead. Okay, now soon I'll be able to turn on the power to the charge controller again and have the solar panels working again. That's important because I'm losing power, potential usable energy with every minute that passes. That's the main negative wire through there. Can you see what I'm doing up in the terminal charge controller? I just hooked up the main negative wire inside my original MPPT solar charge controller. And then that will come around and into the main box here, and I'll probably have power. It's going to spark, I think, when I connect it. Yes, it does. That connects. Okay. Oh, I hate this sparking. Alright, there we go. Now it's got power, but it's confused and angry with me because the sense wire is not on, which I can now put back in. No, I can't because I've got to splice that as well in a bit. Okay? So now I have to hook up, I have to cut the negative wire for the other charge controller and then put it in here. Why is there a plastic zip tie in there? Taped in place. That's odd. Is that what it is? There's a plastic tab covering that. I've got a Felix on my lap, purring happily. So, common and negative. So I've got to make the wire coming out of there, the main negative from here, okay, will then come down into here. Boy, that's just the right size. Just. I don't know why Felix is purring so happily all of a sudden, but he is. Sitting on my lap. He's a happy cat. I don't know if you can hear him. Knock out this plug on the bottom of this thing so I can get the wire in there. Oh, Felix, you're cute, but you're in the way. Well, anyway, I'm going to knock that out and cut that wire and then put the copper terminal plug on, and then I can reconnect the solar power to that as soon as I'm done splicing the sense wire into here. Okay, I have power back on this one, and I have solar coming in. Not much, 17 watts. Only 12.3 volts in the house because there has been thunderstorms all day. So, and of course I've been working on the solar all day, so I haven't had any input either. So that's not nice. Now remember though, my forklift battery bank has a problem, so since the day I got it, it sits at 12.2 at rest. So that's going to be how it is for that battery. Now, I've got a very neat connection here, very nice, and I can professionally safely add or remove wires as needed in the future without any danger to my, well, to the house. Got a nightmare of cable spaghetti, as I've often heard it called. Running around, I'll have to straighten all that up later. And as soon as I set the settings for this little guy here, then for the voltage and everything, then I'll be plugging that in, and then I'll hook up the solar panel to that, and we'll be rolling. I'm just putting in the negative wire for the new solar charge controller. I've set the DIP switches for the proper voltages and settings. So that now has power. Okay. Now I've got to run the solar panel wires into here, and then I'll start producing power from the other solar panels. And then I've got to figure out how to set up the network cable. I've got the network cable for this one, and this is also programmable through the network cable, and I'll be able to read the power output from that as well. But I have to figure out how that'll work, because I don't know if it's going to be the same web address or what, considering that it's the same type of charge controller. So I've got to look into that. But very, very soon I'm going to have the wires going in there for the solar panels, and then we'll have to go on the computer and check it out. Okay, hooking up the final solar panel plus wire into my new charge controller. Now I do not have the voltage sense wires hooked up yet. I still have to splice into that, but I'm losing a lot of potential power right now. So I wanted to get this in here. Now, nothing miraculous or exciting has happened. I didn't expect. I'm only pulling 10 watts out of the solar panels by the RV, and who knows what I'm pulling in here without checking on the computer. So I've got to find a network cable. Oops, is that one there? What's this? Yeah, I think I have a network cable, so I'm going to have to plug this in to the modem and see what kind of power I'm getting. That's going to be the only way to find out, is through the internet, through the network. But I don't know how to address this one. And I hope it's addressed differently from the other. Wait, isn't it network? Is this network? Why is that not going in there? It's not going in there. Okay. There's network, right? Yeah. Well, I don't know why that doesn't fit. It's supposed to be a network cable, Ethernet connection. No, that would be the digital meter. Well, where's the Ethernet connection? Don't tell me this one doesn't have an Ethernet connection. Oh. Oh. This doesn't have a network connection. That's not cool. I will have no idea ever what I'm pulling in from that second system without a meter on the front. That's not cool. Well, there it is. It's hooked up. All I have to do is run the sense wires and straighten up the all this mess down here, especially before the cats get into it. Put on my box covers and we're good to go. But, well, there it is for now. I'm pulling in something. I don't know what, but I'm pulling in something. Well, let me see what time it is. It's been a long day. It's 20 after 7. 7:20 in the evening already. And I'm only just finishing this up. But it was quite a job with getting all the tools and equipment together, sorting out wires, and had to go to town and get crimp-on connectors and mounting it and measuring and making sure it's level and straight, and it was a job, but I got it. So now it's time to neaten up, close up, and be done for the day. Well, that's a disappointment. It's an RS-232 connection to program this with a PC. Not gonna happen. So I'm gonna have to buy the display for that if I'm ever gonna know what I'm pulling in. Frustrating, but it is what it is. I'll never know what I'm pulling in there. I'll never have any idea how much power I'm bringing in on the second charge controller without a meter. So I guess that's it. Is how it is. I'll have to get a meter eventually. But there it is. 2 separate solar panel connections on 2 separate solar charge controllers. Gonna have more power at the off-grid tiny house on wheels. As soon as the sun comes back, things are gonna be looking a lot better. Well, I'm gonna stop at that for now until sundown because I'm still pulling in power on both sets of solar panels. And in my wiring, wasn't thinking about the final hiding of the cables. Now what I've done is I've got my water pipe resting on this. Now this is a PEX pipe, PEX tubing, so chances are not very likely at all that that's ever going to burst, leak, or have any problems. So I've rested that on here to keep that straight and level, because that was sagging a little with time anyway. And then I've got my solar panel wires coming down from this set, running along that and zip tied on. And I want to do the same with this, but I want to run it behind the main power wires. So I'm going to wait until after the sun is down and there's no more power coming in. I have to disconnect them from here, run them along in behind and then up. And also the same with the sense wires. They're intertwined here with the main power lines and I need to untangle them. So I'm going to wait and then I'll straighten all these wires out after the sun is down so that I don't lose any more potential power today. And it's going to look pretty good. You cannot avoid a mass of cables when you've got a bunch of solar charge controllers, but that is how that is. I can't change that at all. And then eventually I'm going to get even bigger wires. I want to get 0 or 00 gauge wire coming from the batteries into these terminal boxes so that I have even less loss in the lines to and from the tiny house between the forklift batteries in the tiny house. So that'll improve power coming and going. I do have heavy gauge wire coming into the house from the forklift battery, but then it transfers to these thinner wires. And I want to rewire that and redo that from there so it comes from the forklift battery all the way to this junction box. And then that'll be my main junction box for all power in the house for the hot wires right there. Easy to see, easy to get to, and easy to handle. So that's it for now. I'll get back to this later and probably show you how it looks when I'm done. Break time. Well, there it is. Neatly wrapped up and finished. All the wires are tied up. And as neatly as I can get it put away, I've got to get my side cutters tomorrow and snip off the zip ties. But I will do that. I don't have to come back and show you and tell you I've done it, so you can trust that I've done it. Got a lot more airspace up here for cooling them. Well, it's looking better in the off-grid tiny house on wheels. A lot more professional looking. Real conduits and proper fasteners, and it's looking good. Well, that's it for today, everybody. Troy from the Do-It-Yourself World and the Off-Grid Project. More solar power in a tiny house on wheels. Talk to y'all later. And it's looking better in the off-grid tiny